Every drive has that one dumb little moment that makes the cabin feel less polished than it should. Your phone lands in the wrong spot, a cable hangs across the console, an older screen feels one full step behind. A quick task turns into a clumsy reach, a messy drop, or a slow setup that breaks the flow before the car even leaves the lot. Welcome to CircuitPeek. This list fixes those small dashboard problems with upgrades that feel cleaner, faster, and easier to live with every day. Peek into what's next. That sounds small, but the real shift starts with the first pick. PZK Car Phone Mount fixes the moment where your phone never lands where it should. Instead of a loose vent clip or a shaky suction setup, this one gives the driver a more intentional place to drop the phone and get moving. The reason that matters is simple. When the phone position feels right, the whole start of drive routine feels cleaner. Navigation sits in a better line of sight, charging feels built in, and the cabin stops looking like a cable spill. What you notice first is not the mount itself, it is the lack of fumbling. That is the upgrade. It looks small, yet it removes one of the most repeated annoyances in the car. JOYROOM 84-watt retractable car charger. 4-in-1 attacks the cable mess that makes a center console look busy before the trip even starts. The retractable design changes the whole feel of the charging area because the wires stop hanging around when they're not in use. That is such a simple fix, yet it makes the car look like somebody finally thought ahead. The thing you are thinking about first is whether a charger really changes the daily drive. This one does, because the outcome is visual and instant. Plug in fast, charge, and put the cable away. The space looks cleaner, passengers stop fighting loose cords, and the setup feels easier every single trip. ONN Upgraded 2026 Bluetooth Car FM transmitter solves the old car problem, where the vehicle still runs fine, but the cabin workflow feels behind the times. Instead of replacing the whole stereo, this gives music, calls, and charging a more current path through the setup you already have. That is why it works so well in this list. It closes a real gap without turning into a big install. The display and hands-free side help it feel more complete than a basic adapter. You get in, pair up, and the car feels less stuck in the past. It is not a full interior makeover, but it brings back the part people miss most: smooth daily connection without extra hassle. Carpuride W125A portable CarPlay screen with 4K Dashcam and 1080p rear camera takes one of the biggest jumps in the whole lineup because it stacks several upgrades into one product. You get a larger screen, a more current interface, and front and rear camera help in the same setup. The result is not just a new screen sitting on the dash. The result is a car that suddenly feels more modern, more visible, and easier to use. What you want to know before you trust this is whether it feels worth the extra hardware in view. The answer shows up fast once maps, camera coverage, and touch access all start working together in one place. AUTOCAST Play 2 Video Pro Wireless CarPlay/Android Auto AI box works because it changes the story from replacing your screen to getting more out of the screen you already use. That shift matters. A lot of drivers do not need another display. They need the current one to feel more capable, less limited, and more fun to use. That is where this lands. It keeps the dashboard from growing extra hardware while still opening up more from the factory setup. The make-or-break detail you are focused on is fit. When the vehicle already has the right base connection, this upgrade feels much smarter than starting over with a full rebuild. That is a strong middle-of-list move. VDIAGTOOL D200 Bluetooth OBD II scanner brings a different kind of dashboard upgrade. Because this one is not about looks first. It is about understanding what the car is doing before a small issue grows into a bigger one. That changes the mood of the list in a good way. Instead of reacting late, the driver gets live data, earlier clues, and a better read on what is happening under the hood. The question in your head right now is whether this feels too deep for everyday use. The answer depends on what you want. If you want more control over maintenance decisions, this stops the guessing game and makes the phone part of a smarter ownership routine. ETENWOLF VORTEX S 6-tire inflator portable air compressor earns attention because it turns a slow, annoying task into something far more ready and direct. Tire pressure problems always show up at the wrong time. This changes that by putting fast air, auto stop, strong battery life, and useful lighting into one device that feels built for real vehicle use. The best part is not the spec sheet. It is the feeling that the job stops being a chore. Grab it, set the target, and let it do the work. That makes this more than a one-use emergency tool. It becomes one of those things that makes the whole car setup feel more prepared and less sloppy. Up to this point, the list cleaned up the daily drive, modernized older setups, and added more control where the dashboard used to feel clumsy or limited. The second half goes even further. Now the focus shifts into stronger proof, easier rear visibility, better tracking, and the kind of backup gear that earns trust the moment something goes wrong. Welcome back to CircuitPeek Media. Here's the short version of better. Which one from the first half already feels like you're missing piece? That feels useful, but the bigger jump starts right here. Rewire Security 4G Dual Vision Dashcam GPS Tracker with OBD II Power pushes beyond normal dashcam thinking because it blends road recording with location tracking in one unit. That means the story is no longer just what happened. It also includes where the vehicle was and how the route lines up with the event. That makes this a stronger fit for parked vehicles, shared vehicles, and drivers who want more traceability than plain footage gives. The outcome is layered proof instead of one thin record. The OBD power angle also helps the setup feel more direct than a complicated custom install. It is a narrower use product, yet for the right driver, the value jump is obvious. AUTO-VOX wireless backup camera magnetic 5-inch portable monitor system fixes one of the oldest problems in car tech videos, a rear view upgrade that turns into a wiring headache. This one wins because the install story is part of the payoff. A portable monitor and a magnetic camera suggest a faster, cleaner path to usable rear visibility, and that matters right away. The result is 2 wins at once: less setup pain and better rear awareness when reversing, towing, or switching between vehicles. What you are evaluating right now is whether convenience beats deep integration. In this case, it does for the people who want flexibility, quick placement, and a camera setup that does not demand a full project weekend. FAIMEE F9 Dash Camera changes the value equation because it is not just a front view tool. It brings front, interior, and rear recording together with GPS and app access, which makes the car feel far more covered in daily use. That matters for drivers who want cleaner records of what happened around the vehicle, not just ahead of it. The expectation break here is simple. The real upgrade is not the extra camera count by itself. It is how much more complete the proof feels once those angles work together. Add app control and built-in storage support, and the whole setup becomes easier to review, manage, and trust after the drive ends. Bouncie GPS Tracker brings a different kind of confidence because it turns the OBD port into a steady source of trip data, driving alerts, and vehicle health insight. This is not flashy dashboard candy. It is the kind of tool that quietly earns its place by giving the owner more awareness over time. Route history, driving behavior, maintenance signals, and geofence alerts all pull the car into a more informed routine. The thing you are thinking about first is the monthly subscription. That is fair. This fits best when ongoing tracking and insight matter enough to justify that extra layer. When they do, it feels far more useful than a gadget that only helps once in a while. ESR for MagSafe Car Mount proves that simple products still matter when the daily drive includes the same awkward reach again and again. The fast magnetic snap, strong hold, and adjustable viewing angle remove the clumsy part of phone mounting without adding much bulk. It is one of those products that looks basic until you use it for a week and then forget how annoying the old setup felt. That is a very good sign. The result is faster one-hand placement, a steadier screen over rough roads, and less time spent fighting a mount that never feels settled. It is clean, quick, and easy to trust. Sometimes that is exactly the right kind of upgrade. Halo Bolt Air plus 1,750 portable jump starter with air compressor earns its late list spot because it covers several bad moments with one larger, more serious tool. A dead battery is bad enough. Low tire pressure at the wrong time makes it worse. This puts jump start support, air compressor help, and device charging in one place, which turns scattered emergency gear into one cleaner plan. That is the real win. Instead of hoping the right tool is somewhere in the trunk, you have a single unit that handles multiple common problems. It is larger, yes, but that larger footprint is the reason it brings more real coverage when the drive goes off script. Juscar 2026, AI Drive Assist, 5G Wi-Fi, Dashcam, front and rear. Keeps the energy high near the end because it adds a more connected layer to everyday recording. Footage matters, but this product also leans into app handling, touch interaction, GPS, and a more active-feeling interface. That changes the tone from passive recording to more involved awareness. The outcome is a dashcam setup that feels more current and more engaged with how people already use their phones and screens. Here's the exact concern most people have at this point. Does it sound bigger than it feels? The answer depends on the real demo, and the strongest value shows up when the interface and daily use feel smooth. SKDW Rear View Mirror Camera 4K Front / 2.5K Rear Mirror Dashcam closes the loop on this whole list because it brings together visibility, proof, and a cleaner in-cabin feel in one more integrated package. Instead of another extra screen or another small accessory, this aims for a setup that feels more built-in. That makes it a strong closer. It improves front and rear coverage, adds a screen-based rear view benefit, and avoids the look of a random device stuck out on the windshield. Installation asks for more commitment, yet that commitment supports the payoff. Less visual clutter, more function, and a dashboard that finally feels more complete than chaotic. This list started with little annoyances on the dash and ended with full-on visibility, proof, and backup tools that make the whole car feel more sorted out. That is the real pattern here. These are not random add-ons. They are upgrades that clean up the drive, shorten dumb steps, and make older or clumsier setups feel more current. Not every product fits every driver, and that is the point. The right pick depends on what part of your daily routine feels the most annoying right now. Which upgrade are you adding first from this list? Then check the links in the description if you want to look any of these up. Stop doing the things the hard way. Peek into what's next. Want to see more? Check out the video on the left or check out the playlist on the right.